Hello guys, in this video we'll be taking a look at the autosomal DNA results, predicted phenotype traits, and GED match results of two medieval Turkic individuals from Karakaba in Kazakhstan. Let's begin with the first individual. His Y-DNA is J2, which is most typical in Western Asia, not so much in Kazakhstan. This is what he's predicted to look like. With my NOSHACOT, he's predicted to have dark brown color eyes, snub-shaped nose and black hair. He's also predicted to have East Asian facial traits because he's heterozygous for EDAR, so he's got one derived EDAR, one of the mutations that has to do with East Asian facial traits, shovel-shaped incisors, epicanthic folds, all that stuff. With snipper free, he's predicted to have brown color eyes, black color hair, and white color skin. And he's actually got a ginger mutation in MC1R, which is pretty rare for people in Kazakhstan today. This is his genotype in DRD2's Pro-Frenetin Pro variation, so he's got higher odds of schizophrenia, definitely not a no-go learner. He's got WORI or with the IO genotype in COMT, which means Val, very interesting genotype, non-European genotype, and what this means is that he would have lower amount of dopamine in his brain. Okay, he's got this genotype in ACT1, which reduces the odds of psychosis caused by cannabis, so he can smoke weed without, psychosis and stuff like that, and he's got the sociopath gene. He's got derived OXTR. Got the sociopath gene. He's got one derived allele in EDR, which means maybe not entirely East Eurasian facial traits, just sort of semi or partially, kind of like a mixed between European and East Asian is how I imagine him looking. He's got, does not have the European lactose persistence mutation, but he's not a European, so nothing is surprising here. He does have the mutation that protects against myopia, which is pretty cool. Did not need glasses to see in the distance. Now, moving on to polygenic traits, he's got a high risk score for Crohn's disease. He's got a high risk score for Parkinson's disease. He's got a high risk score for bipolar disorder. He's got a high risk score for brain aneurysm. He's got a below average risk score for type 2 diabetes. He's got a low risk score for schizophrenia. He's got a low risk score for coronary heart disease. And he's got an average risk score for asthma. This is what he scores with Eurogene's K13. We can see he's scoring 14.3% West Asian, quite high West Asian, but even higher is his score for Siberian. He's very Siberian and very East Asian in terms of ancestry. He's roughly half East Asian and roughly half West Eurasian in terms of ancestry. He is getting modeled as a mixture of Shors plus Afghan, Hazara from Afghanistan, or Kazakh plus Irish, so he's a little bit shifted towards Europe relative to Kazakhs. He's getting modeled as a mixture of Tubalar, which are Turkic people in Siberia, plus Siberian Tatar plus Hazara from Afghanistan, with G25, so he is slightly more West Eurasian than Kazakhs are. This is what he scores with MDLP K16 Modern. It's kind of a very mixed result. It's hard to judge what's in here and what isn't, but with the Oracle he is closest to Karakalpaks and Bashkirs and not to Kazakhs. Now this individual is from Kazakhstan. He's from eastern Kazakhstan. So I think it's very peculiar that he is closest to Karakalpaks, which are much more western, and Bashkirs, which are actually not even in Central Asia, they're in Russia. I think that this is because this is what Turkic Kazakhs used to look like before the Mongols mixed with them. Like Kazakhs have some Mongol admixture, and this Mongol admixture made them more Eastern than, for example, this guy. These results are super unique because in a way this is what Turkic people were like in Kazakhstan before the Mongols got there and started mixing and making their clans and whatever. They were most similar to Hazaras, Turkmen, and they were actually getting modeled as a mixture of Uzbek plus Altayan or Altayan plus Tajik Pamiri. So relative to the Siberians, relative to the Siberian Turkics in Siberia, they've already got some West Asian admixture. And with Ancient Eurasia K6, he's actually scoring 15.8% Natufian. Maybe not so much, not a lot of Natufian, but it is actually a lot compared to like Siberian Turkics such as Yakuts, for example. Because of this Natufian admixture, he's actually scoring some Sardinian or European Neolithic with the Oracle. And with Gedrosia K3, this is his result. Roughly half East Eurasian and West Eurasian. So, in regards to Turks, what is the admixture of Turkic people before Mongols? I think it would be half East Eurasian, half West Eurasian, as these results suggest. Now we're moving on to the next Karakaba individual. This one's got a different Y DNA. He's also a guy. And his Y DNA is R1A, Z93, Z2125. It's actually my Y DNA too, so he's my ancestor. This is what he looked like with my NOSHACOT tool. He's predicted to have brown color eyes, Greek shaped nose, and black hair. He's got BH1, blue eye haplotype 1, but no BH2, no BH4. So probably had darker color eyes, not blue or green or hazel. He's got some variants for darker skin, but he's also got some variants for lighter skin too. And he did not have derived EZAR, no East Asian facial traits. So that's why here I'm not depicting him with East Asian facial traits. I'm depicting him looking very Caucasoid or West Eurasian. He's got lower odds of cannabis-induced psychosis according to his genotype in Act 1. Not surprising because I think these Turkic people did smoke cannabis recreationally. He's got the sociopath gene just as the previous individual. Nothing surprising once again, because if you look at the history and what Turks did to other people, definitely got the sociopath gene, all of them. And does not have derived EZAR, no East Asian facial traits, no shovel-shaped incisors, no epicanthic folds. Does not have the European lactose persistence mutation, but he's not a European, so why would he? Also has the mutation that protects against myopia, so pretty cool. Does not need glasses to see in the distance, for example. Now, moving on to polygenic traits, he's got a high risk score for Crohn's disease. He's got an average risk score for Parkinson's disease. He's got an average risk score for schizophrenia. He's got a high risk score for bipolar disorder. He's got a low risk score for type 2 diabetes. He's got a high risk score for stroke. He's got a average risk score for asthma. And he's got a low risk score for coronary heart disease. This is what he scores with the Eurogenes K13. Now, despite looking very different from the previous individual, he's actually got pretty much the same admixtures. Mostly West Asian, Siberian, East Asian, and various European components here. He is closest to Kazakhs and Shors, just as the previous individual, and he's getting modeled as a mixture of Shors plus Nagai or Altai plus Tabasaran. By the way, Nagai on Eurogenes K13 means something completely different from what Nagai on G25 is. On Eurogenes K13 calculator, Nagai is some kind of Caucasus, or it's in the Caucasus group, whereas in reality on G25, Nagai is very much a Central Asian group. This is what he scores with M0PK16. You can pause the video and just look at it, but I'm not gonna dwell on it for too much. He's scoring only 9% Caucasian, very little Caucasian. He is closest to Khakas and Shors in Siberia. He's getting modeled as a mixture of Khakas plus Mishar Tatar or Khakas plus various Tatars in Russia, basically. So, related to the Khakas, he's a little bit shifted towards Tatar people in Russia. This is what he scores with PanDNA K12. Once again, not much Caucasus Hunter-Gatherer, only 17.8% Caucasus Hunter-Gatherer. I'm saying only, but this is actually a lot for, compared to other Siberians, right? And because it's a lot compared to Siberians, he's getting modeled as a mixture of Altaian plus Tajik, or Tuvinian plus Tajik, or even Altaian plus Chechen, or Altaian plus Lezgin. So relative to the Altaians, he's got some significant Caucasus admixture. This is what he scores with Ancient Eurasia K6. He's actually scoring less Natufian than the previous Karakaba sample, but I don't think that matters all that much. He's getting modeled as a mixture of Eskimo plus English or Czech, which is a very crazy result, but there is a sensible result, which is line number 9 here, Kalmyk plus Steppe Middle Late Bronze Age. So relative to the Kalmyks, he's shifted towards Steppe Middle Late Bronze Age, shifted towards Indo-Europeans, basically. With Gidrosia K3, he's pretty much an even split between East Eurasians and West Eurasians. Once again, this is what Kazakh people were like before mixing with the Mongols. They were more West Eurasian than they are today. And this pretty much concludes my video. Thanks for watching until the end. You can download both of these samples in 23andMe format from link which is in the description. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.